Hello and welcome to another video from trainingrite.com. In this video, we will be talking about joins. What are the different types of joins? How do you work with those joins? To get started, 1 minute of theory on joins. There are basically 3 to 4 different types of joins that you need to know. Now, the most important of those joins are basically your inner join, your left join, your right join, and the full outer join. All right, so that's a bunch of joints. So what are those? So let's take a look as how we will come across working with those different types of joints. So let's start off with the most easiest one of all, which is your inner join. So in order to understand the inner join, you have to have a little bit of understanding of the structure of the database. So let me take you into one of these two databases. I'm going to start off with pubs, and then because this is the easier or a smaller database, and then we will go ahead and then we will do some more exercises in the Northwind database. All right, so let's start off with the pubs database. So let me expand the pubs database and take you into the different tables in here. All right, so what exactly is your understanding of a database? What is a database? Well, it's nothing but it's a storage, right? It stores information. What kind of information it stores? It stores information about your business. So let's say I'm in the business of publishing. I'm a publisher. Then I would have authors who are writing my books that I need to publish, right? So I need to have some information about authors. So this is what I have, a table of authors, right? So let us see what kind of data we have in this table called authors. So in order to see the data, I will go and open my new query, and I gotta make sure that I type the query, the SQL query, structured query language, which is select. And if I need to see everything inside that table, I would go with an asterisk. And then I say from and give the name of the table. The name of the table is authors, right? So once I type this query, I am going to execute it. And when I execute, I will see the results over here. And if you take a look at the results are nothing but the details about this author. So if you look into this author, his first name is Johnson, last name is White, his phone number is that, address is that, and lives in California. That's his zip code, and he has a contract 1 or 0. That means something. We'll talk about what that is in the later video. For now, this is how you will see the data inside the table. Now, let us go and look into the employee table. So if I have to look into the employee table, what would I do? I would just come in here and then do employee, right? Because that's the name of the table. And I could just do an execute, and then it gives me some information about the employee. So let us look into it. And there are what? 1 to 43. So imagine that it's a medium-sized company. There are 43 employees in here, right? And these are the details of the employees. Every employee will have an employee ID. So that's the employee ID. And of course, they have their first name, middle initial, and last name. So let's take a look into this guy or this lady, Helen. So Helen, her last name is Bennett, right? And she joined in the year 1989, right? So she's working for this company since 1989. And let us look into a couple of details. So this Helen, right? Her job ID, if you see job ID, is 12, and her job level is 35. Now you might be wondering, like, what is 12 and 35? So what happens is in databases there is something called normalization, and we're going to go and then discuss about normalization in detail in the upcoming videos. But for the sake of this video, I'll just quickly explain you that one of the rules of normalization is you don't try not to keep redundant data. Try not to keep duplicate data inside the table. So in order to satisfy that rule, you will come up with lookup tables. So lookup table is Helen is an employee whose job ID is 12. So where is that job ID defined? So job ID is defined in another table. So that's the jobs table. So inside the jobs table, if I go into the jobs table and pull the jobs table, you will find some details about these different levels of jobs that are defined. So in this database, so if you see job ID 1, it's a new hire. 2 is CEO of the company. 3 is business operations manager. Likewise, 13 is sales representative. So if I go back to this employee table and if I highlight that and if I run it, Helen is 12. Job ID is 12. What is job ID? I got to go in here and look into 12. Job ID 12 is she's an editor, right? She's an editor. So now notice that employee has some data which is pointing to, if I go here, employee data over here, it is pointing to the other table, right, called the jobs table. So if I need to look up the information of Helen, what does she do if she's an editor or a sales rep or what? And basically I got to go into this jobs table, right? So I got to pull up this one, right, which is here. I have to go to Helen's information and look into what is 12 and then come back here and then run and then see what is 12, and 12 is basically an editor, right? Okay, great. Now this is fine when it comes to like a small table where you have 40 employees. Let's say if you have like 40,000 employees, or if you have like let's not go to that extreme. Let's say you have like a decent sized company where you have like 5,000 employees. I'm not gonna like scroll down all those 5,000 employees and come here and see that, okay, what is Mary, right? Mary is level 8. So then again, I'm going to go into jobs and then put what is level 8. Level 8 is public relations manager. So I'm not going to, do that. So there must be a better way to pull the data. And the better way to pull the data is through the use of joins, right? Through the use of joins. So you have to join the two tables, right? Join the two tables. Now the question is, how do you join the two tables? Again, there are different types of joins, as I have mentioned at the start of the video. There's something called an inner join. There's something called a left join. There's something called a right join. And finally, there's something called a full outer join. So in this video, I'm going to start off with the inner join, right? So I'll start off with the most easiest of all the joins. I'll explain you what is the inner join. And then basically we will start writing the code or the SQL query that can pull up the data from both the tables into a single query. So let's say if I need to extract the data, what data I need to extract? I need to extract the data by using joins, which is the inner join. So what does the inner join do? What inner join does is it will go into employees and it will see that, okay, these are 42, 43 employees. Every employee have a job ID. It will try to go and match that job ID from this table, job ID, and then basically, depending on what kind of query we will write, it will join that two tables and give us the information of what we are seeking. So now the question is, what kind of information are we seeking? That we will define that in our query. So I'm going to go and then write a query. In that query, I will start off with, I will say that select star from, give the name of the first table. The first table is what? Employee. So employee. So this is what I will do. And the next thing is, I will join this with the other table. And the way I will join this is by saying inner join. Inner join means it is going to match the records from employee with this jobs table. So I will say select star from employee, inner join with which table? With jobs table, Now we have to give the condition. What we have to look at? If you see, we were looking at the job ID from employee and matching with the job ID in the jobs table. And that is easy to write when we say that. So this is, we are writing select star from employee, inner join jobs, and now you would say on and define the joining field between the two tables. So the first table is employee dot, and the field in the employee which we were looking for was what? The field in the employee which we were looking for was what? Job underscore ID. So I'm going to say job underscore ID should be equal to, this is equal to, should be equal to the job underscore ID of the jobs table. So I would say jobs is the name of the table, dot job underscore ID. And if I do that, so this is my query now. This, the meaning of this query, let's understand. The meaning of this query is, hey, there is an employee table, there's a jobs table. Inside the employees table, there are employees, right? There are employees who are working as different job levels, and those job levels are defined in this jobs table. So the way you join them is you say that, hey, I am looking for the information in the employee table, and I want to join that with the jobs table. Where, or the condition where is, the join is on what column? The join is on the job ID of employee and the job ID of the jobs. Okay, if you do that, if you highlight it and if you run it, now notice again one more time. If you do the employee, the maximum fields is employee ID, name, middle initial, job level, hire date, right? We don't know from here, just pulling this, I don't know what department Helen is working for, what department some other lady is working for. We can take Anne, we can take this Carla, or we can take Janine. So we don't know anything about it, right? So the way we wanted to find out is through this. So I will highlight this and I will run this. Now notice the number of columns for employee is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the number of columns for jobs is 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So now with this, we are saying give all, give all. So let us write that query and run it. So now what we are getting complete of the employee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up to hire date of employee and all of this stuff. The beauty of this is now you can go and see Helen is an editor, right? Anne is a business operations manager, and Carla is an acquisition manager, and Maria is marketing manager. So how did we do it? We wrote the inner join as in query. So it is easy. The way we write the query is one more time. We have to identify the tables. So here was the table employees, here was the table jobs. We open both the tables. We see that the relationship between the two tables was defined using this column called job ID, and then we wrote this query. Now let us take a look into something else in here, right? Same database. Let me look into the relationship that is defined in these tables. Let's say publishers. Let us go and look